First project, nerf bars. We're going to relocate the pegs and we are going to establish some appropriate heel guards in the right location in relation to the fender and on the right side in relation to the Kickstarter. We have to make kind of have to notch the heel guard for the Kickstarter, so that'll require some work. Okay, real quick on how to remove these netting bungs, or whatever you call them. I already went ahead and did it. I got a little rambunctious, but I wanted to share with you guys how I do it. So I'll just take a simple grinder with a thin cutting disc on it, and I'll come in at an angle here. So I score a line along the weld, right in the middle of the weld, and then I'll angle it pretty good to try to not to go into the tube. Now on the top side, this is the top side of the Nerf bar, where we don't want to cut too deep, we don't want to make any marks. Just cut this weld pretty light, just basically score a line. And then on the back side, do the same thing, but you can cut a little bit deeper. That way, if you cut into the tube a tiny bit, nobody will see it. But just take your time, do it pretty light. When you've scored a good line, then from the bottom side, take just a normal chisel and try to open that crack up, or create a crack from the cut, and do it from the bottom, because your bottom cut should be greater, and then this should just bend right over, and that bend should just pop this weld free. Then you're left with a weld here and a weld here. What I do is I just take a simple Vixen file and I work the welds down, get them flush. Then I go over it with a 220 block and then a 600 block. And you take it down, if you take your time, it really doesn't take much work with the 220. So if you get that one right, and then you just put in a little extra elbow grease on the 600, some mother's polish, a little bit of further extra work, and this thing will look better than new. So that's how I do it. I don't use a flap disc in an angle grinder because I think it's too powerful, and it just digs in too much, and you get uneven surface really easy, because with the welds you have the heat affected zone next to the weld is solutionized from the welding. So this is probably 6061 with a T6 heat treatment. That T6 heat treatment has hardened it a fair amount to get the strength properties. T6 is actually for the peak strength property that grade is capable of. It's not like a T7 where it's thermally stabilized. So the weld, the temperature from the weld right on the edge of the weld into the substrate softens it. It's essentially the same property for steel. Almost the same exact occurrence happens. So that's why your weld is harder and your heat affected zone is softer, and that's where you get that waviness. And when you use a flap disc, it just works too fast, too aggressively, and that's how that can happen. If you just take your time, use the Vixen file, you'll be surprised at how it'll look like it's never been there. It'll look really nice. So that's how I do it. Just thought you guys like to see that. All right, you guys, I wanted to pause here real quick, give you a little bit of insight and just show you one little detail. So as you can see, pegs are done. I gusseted the bottom, and I did that because many aftermarket Nerf bars, not just for the Banshee, but like the 450 and stuff, these plates are either too thin or the weld joint is lacking. It's just poorly designed. So I decided to put this gusset here, which I know will do way more than I need it to. This will make everything extremely robust, and that's why I slotted the bottom of the Nerfs. Next step is I'll probably put a through bolt here to hold everything down. Can't do it up here because I have that gusset on the bottom side. So I got these extra holes here, which not too happy about, but whatever. Less weight, right? So I'll probably put a through bolt right here. Same on the other side. But one other item. I did shorten the shifter. I had the shifter, I actually lengthened it an inch or an inch and a half from stock. So even in the stock setup with the peg like way over here, the shifter was way too short, and you got to drive your foot down underneath it to get a good shift. And anybody, you know, if you're just wearing casual work boots or something, nobody cares. But motocross boots, it can be quite a pain in the butt. And if you adjust the shifter up here, sometimes that just doesn't work for some guys because it's too much play, or they can't throw their toes up that far. It's all about being comfortable, right? And with how far forward the pegs sit, naturally you sit with your foot flatter. So one of the advantages we have of additional advantages of moving the peg back is now with our butt in the same position but our legs moved back, it'll naturally rake our feet a little more. So it'll want to fit under the shifter better. So we get a lot of benefits from it. So I don't remember exactly what this dimension is, but after I get the pegs on, I'll show you a dimension for that. So we're nearly there. And this is what I wanted to show you guys. If any of you dare to do this silly escapade that I've done, I originally had some thoughts on whether or not if a 450 set of A-arms would work, if their overall shape would work better for what I'm trying to achieve. And it was a guessing game. So I bought these AC Nerfs because I had these on my 04 years ago and I loved them, but they came way out here. They were long, and for the 450 that is to run right here, way out here. But the confirmation I wanted to provide is it was a hunch, but now it's not. This, let's see if I can do this one-handed. This new geometry that we've created for the Banshee lines up. It is identical to this 450 shape on this 450. The Nerf bar on this 450. So, if any of you dare to do this silliness with your Banshee, I'd say find yourself a set of these 450 ones that are short, that don't cross all the way over, and you'll be much further along than what I'm doing. Then you'll just have to figure out how to tie the centers together and make it all like that. Or not, you could just bolt them up so they hang on the side, but me personally, I like them to tie together in the middle. So just wanted to show you that, and yeah, that was it. Just in case any of you dare to do something so silly, you may try a different set of Nerfs. Okay, here we are. So it's a few weeks later from when I did the nerf bar modification, and since then I have done the Gladwin Trail up north with my father. If you go through my videos, you'll see the 3 mil versus 4 mil thumbnail. That's the Blaster and the Banshee, and we just went out for a trail ride. So we did about 2 hours on that ride, and then I did the final race of MOXC in Holly. That was beginning of September, or mid-September, however you want to look at it. And that was another 2 hours of abuse. So I went to Gladwin. I did the trail ride because I did this nerf modification, and I wanted to put it to the test before the race, just to see how it felt. And it was outstanding. It was so much better. So I felt confident going into the race, and man, it worked out just as well for the race. It was so nice to be able to have these pegs 2.5 to 3 inches back, and I also dropped them about an inch, and it really made a difference. Yeah, it's been outstanding. So modification, well worth it and long overdue. I should have done it far sooner. Wish I did. So in the next video, part 2, I will go over the handlebars with all of you. We'll change the handlebars, and then I'll just do a quick mock-up on measurements for the peg placement in relation to the handlebars and the front spindle and so on. I'm not going to do that in this video because the handlebars, I'm not going to bore all of you to death on a handlebar change like other people do. I think it's ridiculous. So the next video will be very short. It's just going to be a simple snapshot of, hey, here's the new handlebars on the machine, and let's look at some of the geometry numbers. Let's compare it to before. So that'll be next video. It'll be very quick. And then part 3, we'll move on to the swing arm, which I have the carrier pretty much ready to go. I welded the bungs on, and then I got to pull the swing arm and chop it all up, notch it out for the carrier here. But before I do that, I need to play with the measurements on how much we want to take out of the swing arm, and I'm going to walk through that in the video for all of you to witness. That way we can determine if it's going to be an inch, inch and a quarter, inch and 3/4, 2 inches. I was pretty confident after the last 2 rides with the new foot peg placement that I still think I should shorten the swing arm a fair amount. I'm still leaning towards 1 inch not being enough. So we'll get into that. So that's the plan. And let me know, the race season's over. Let me know if you guys actually want to see a recap on everything that the Banshee went through the season. I've got notes on the rear sprocket, the front spindles, the shocks, the front shocks, the A-arms, the tires. I did some stuff with the tires. I did all these little things through the season, and the Banshee did very well. So let me know if you want a recap video for the race season on the machine, because there's a lot of little lessons learned that I think might be useful. At least they are to me. It would be probably appropriate for me to just circle around and organize my thoughts on all that. So let me know. I'd appreciate it.